Speaking about Moroccan ballers, today's a very Morocco-heavy episode because we have to speak about the legendary Moroccan player, one of the most talented passers in the world, Hakim Ziyech, moving to Morocco to play for Wydad Casablanca. Casablanca is one of the most historic teams in African football. They represent an incredibly footballing city. And for Ziyech to come back to Morocco after having never really lived in Morocco because he grew up in the Netherlands is a very, very interesting story. It's not something that we see often when it comes to African players of diasporic heritage playing for teams in Africa. I mean, I'm having a tough time thinking of one right now. So what do you guys think this story represents for African football and how it's kind of rising in terms of global prominence?
I think it's great because we just spoke about the rise of Pyramids FC and how the importance of the domestic leagues in these countries is going to build the overall infrastructure. Before we talked about Morocco, so we have the semis in 2022. They're about to host AFCON, the investment in infrastructure, the U20 World Cup win. To now have one of your best players playing in the domestic league, that's just one more cog in the wheel for continuing to grow them as a football nation. The sky is the limit, seriously. So yeah.
The wizard is back in Wydad. You know what I mean? It's interesting to see, and I think one of the things you highlighted was more so the intention.
Yeah.
I believe he probably even turned down offers from Europe.
Yes.
You know, he's definitely a talented bowler. Yeah. He's about 32 years old. He still got it in him, but there's a reason why he went back home, which technically, like you said, he didn't even grow up in. So
yeah, I'd say he represents someone claiming his country too the entire time.
Yeah.
Not at a later stage, not being in the Dutch youth system and all that. Well, excuse me, the Dutch youth system in terms of the national team. Like, no, I'm always Morocco, period.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And I think, it's a new generation of African stars because if we're being honest, Eto'o didn't go back to play in Cameroon. Drogba didn't go back to play in Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
However, it's kind of opening the door because Ziyech playing for Wydad opens the door for Salah to go back and play in Egypt.
Yep.
It opens the door for Hakimi to try it out and play in Morocco. It opens the door for Osimhen to go back and play in Nigeria. And what that would mean for African football, if the way that Brazilians sometimes go back and play in Brazil when they're 30, and how that almost elevates Brazilian football to a certain extent.
It does.
When that star goes back and plays at home, more eyes turn on that football.
Yeah.
So if Hakimi opens the door, imagine we'll start knowing a little bit more about what's going on in African soccer, and that's a big deal.
And then how dope is that for the young winger who's 18 years old and Wydad Casablanca?
Exactly.
Like when Marcelo went back to Fluminense, playing with those people, then you see how they did in the Club World Cup and after winning Copa Libertadores.
It's huge.
So it's huge, man.
It's huge.